All right, welcome back, Better Everyday podcast listeners. I'm your host, Brad Weems, live here from Market Street Media. Today's guest is a videographer, an aspiring TikTok star, a new member with us at Thunder Valley, and a good buddy of mine. Today's guest is Aaron Flannagan. How's it going, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, for people that don't know Aaron, he is just one of those people that's always happy go lucky and just a positive and fun guy to be around. Just hilarious, just a good soul. So I told him I don't know, a month or so ago, I'm like, man, you are one of my favorite members that have joined in a long time. So
Appreciate it.
yeah, it's been good having you part of the Thunder Valley squad. So people that don't know you, Aaron, tell us a little bit about you. Maybe your story growing up, what you were like as a kid, maybe sports you played, and just anything else you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I grew up in Bristol. I lived with my mom and my grandmother most of the time. Um, Mainly just went around through the Bristol Heights Mobile Home Park and like me and the kids just outside playing until the sun went down and just fighting everybody. I mean, that's what we did. That and GI Joes, and basically, I mean, me and my cousins, friends, brother. We do like some get on the trampoline and everything like throughout the summer. And just wrestling was really big in the 90s.
Hmm.
So we'd be out there just jumping on the trampoline, wrestling like body pillows or each other. Uh,
How old are you, Aaron?
Now I'm 32.
You're 32. Okay, so I'm 36, and it sounds a lot of your story in childhood sounds a lot like mine. You could be 3 streets away on your bike, and as long as you're home by dark, it's fine. And you come home, grass stains all over the jeans and
Oh, yeah.
sweating. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember some nights, especially after Mighty Ducks 2 came out. I'd be out there acting like I knew how to play hockey in front of the girls next door and everything, just thinking I knew how to do the knuckle puck. And then my mom and I'd go in and we'd be watching Chicago Bulls and then uh, WCW Nitro, Monday Night Raw. I mean, she kind of just, we were the same person basically. We just watched all the same stuff and she didn't care.
Your mom's watching WCW Nitro with you.
Yeah, she loved Sting, and then once we got into WWF, when it was WWF, she was a Stone Cold. I mean, she didn't hold back with it, and I mean, we even drew South Park comics back in the day. Like, she
Maybe I need to have your mom on the podcast.
she'd probably have a good time.
That's awesome. So let's keep talking about middle school, high school years. What's that look like?
Middle school, pretty much in seventh grade. That is whenever I kind of picked up the playing the guitar, and at that time MTV brought out the show Jackass, and
Hmm.
I mean, me and my buddies, we'd just go to each other's house and skate all day. And then once we got to about eighth or ninth grade, we'd get a ride to the skate park up in Bristol.
Hmm.
And I met a lot of guys that I mean I'm still friends with to this day, even if it's just over social media. Like we still just joke around in the comments section and stuff. Is I mean, we'd skate around Bristol and everything, and I mean, it was one of those weird things where we'd be down there and like we wouldn't really do anything. We weren't good enough. Well, I wasn't at least like good enough to get in trouble skateboarding. Like I wasn't grinding handrails and stuff. But if a cop was riding by, even if he's not even looking at us, we just felt cool because we were running away.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they didn't want anybody riding around because they thought like vandalism and stuff like that. Um, Big thing around that time, probably let's see here, in eighth grade just started making videos and
Hmm.
everything. As whenever that started. I don't know how I came up with the idea. If I read it online, we had like AOL 56K internet back then. But my first video that I edited, I had VHS-C tapes
Hmm.
on this camera, and I'm pretty sure me and my buddies we went by Johnny Knoxville like we really looked like him or anything like that. I sounded like a little girl back then, but I had two VHSs or two VCRs. One was set to record, and one was playing the camera tape. And I had my PlayStation 1 or 2, and it was playing a CD in it.
Hmm.
And I just unplugged the visual cord, and it played music on these things. And Like, now that I think about it, I don't even know if I could figure that out now. So
But
that's
as
just
an 8th grader, you were,
yeah, that's what I was doing back then.
yeah, I was trying to think. I'm like, what kind of software was he used to edit video?
I think the first time, like, I started actually editing videos, it was on, Adobe Premiere. I was a part of this forum back whenever forums and message boards and stuff were a thing, and
Mhm.
I got Adobe Premiere. It wasn't unlocked or anything like that, so a lot of the features weren't available. But my mom had gotten me a Hot Wheels computer for Christmas, and it was like bright blue with cartoon flames on it, but it was cool. And I was recording videos, and I would actually sell them for like $10 at school, like VHS tapes, and it was people just loved it because they could show their parents. Their parents probably burned the
Yeah,
tape.
you're never hanging out with that
Yeah,
kid.
you're never having him over again.
How did you fall in love with video? Because I share kind of the same passion. Like I love video. I would do more of it if I didn't have to do the thorough editing. But
Yeah.
you know, overall, I just love having a camera in my hand and love it so much more than photography. So how did you get into it?
I think a big thing, like growing up, I watched Saturday Night Live and Kids in the Hall, which was basically the Canadian version of Saturday Night Live, and just seeing those skits and um, skateboard videos back in the day, like people were doing it independently, and that was the people I wanted to be like. If it went from me and my buddies just skating down a hill. And then, I mean, especially crashing, we'd laugh at it and remember, and we want to show people. And
Hmm.
then it'd be, we found a cool bush to jump in for like an hour and a half or something like that. But just, we never really done anything to get in real trouble, but
Yeah.
we were just out having fun. I mean, it was that period of time.
So a cool story. Like I said, there's so many parallels between our middle school and high school years, even though we're 4 years difference. I used to go mullet hunting at Walmart.
Yes.
So, Brittany Holbert, if you're listening today, I tricked you into that date to go mullet hunting, um, just so I could spend time with you. But what we'd do is you would go to Walmart and find like the most random object or item, and I would be sitting here holding it, and I'm looking like I'm just like holding, a pillow, and the mullet would be back here, and
Okay.
we'd snap a picture. So I was chasing mullets around Morristown and putting them on bradssite.com, which,
Oh man,
which eventually like blew up to where I had enough followers and I sold my own T-shirts.
that is
So
cool.
yeah,
Like you
but
basically turned into people of Walmart at one point. I'm assuming.
yeah, except instead of like showing all the crazy characters, you just showed
No
featured
man.
mullets. So
Hey, the mullet's good. I grew up with a mullet.
did you?
I did. I remember. I've got some pictures where, and I've got like really curly hair, anyways. But my mom would blow dry it, and it'd be down all the way to my waist almost. And
Wow.
and I remember. I think it was like second grade. Maybe I came home crying, told my mom some kid called me a sissy, and we
Because
we cut it off. I mean, but nowadays a mullet,
they're back in
you're
style.
bad to the bone with a
You
mullet.
actually were cutting edge back then.
Yeah,
You look like one of the kids that would have had a rat tail too, did you?
I didn't have a rat tail.
No,
I
okay.
was all in on a mullet. I didn't have a bowl cut either.
So we were talking about today what we wanted to talk about, and Aaron has so many good stories. One specifically was getting in trouble and having to go to Moral Kombat. You want to share that story with us?
Yeah, probably about my junior year of high school, we
So,
had a
so preface it though, real quick. What is Moral Kombat?
Moral Kombat is basically just a play on words from Mortal Kombat, but basically it's a class where kids that are getting in trouble get sent to, and
Okay.
it's kind of like driving school almost.
Mm-hmm.
It was at the Bristol courthouse, and I was sitting around the table with these kids. What happened was and I mean, we wasn't even thinking it was a big deal, like egging. It's nothing crazy, but now that I know that, an egg can dry on the paint of your car and, the clear coat's
Yeah.
gone,
Yeah.
or chip it. But what we were doing is we were going around in my car filming for our website that we had at the time. It was customscar.com. And I mean, it, it had some good stuff. Like I wish I still had those videos, but YouTube with their copyright laws and everything, because back then I was just reckless with music. I mean, I didn't even know,
Mm-hmm.
I was using the music illegally, but um, we'd go to Food City and probably spend maybe $20 on eggs, and then just around and down through the streets, throw an egg at a car, and just thinking it was something harmless. Well, Is I guess somebody had called, so they go to the food city that's next to the area right where we were egging people, and they got the video and the license plate. And I mean, I thought I was like a hard up criminal the time. Like I'm laying in bed. Like at the time, I just had a futon mattress in my floor, so I was like, I don't need a bed frame. Like, and my sister comes in and she tells me, um, the cops are outside. And I'm like, leave me alone. I'm asleep. She's like, no, for real. And I get up and look out the window and there's a cop, and like instantly, like I feel my heart just fall out of me. And I mean, we didn't like get in that bad of trouble or anything for it. They just wanted to make sure we knew not to go anymore. But I had to go to a class called Moral Kombat because of this. And basically, like we're going around the table, and there's kids that they're fighting in school consistently. There's this guy and these two girls, and they beat up somebody and took a pocketbook or something, anything like that. And then they come to me, and me and my buddies were out last night egging, just harmless from what I think. We're only like 15 and 16 years old, but yeah, Moral Kombat. It sounds like like I'm coming back from like some heinous crime that, that I didn't really mean to do.
You threw 9 eggs.
Yeah, I maybe threw 9. That's probably a good guess.
No, I had a similar story happen with one of my buddies. While we were in high school, we just our car, and so anyway, my buddy decides to moon all these people in our neighborhood, and so next thing I know, there's a car following us, and it looks like they're trying to get the license plate. So we leave my house and go to another friend's house, like 4 streets over, and let them come find us.
Oh, man.
Same thing, cops show up. No, luckily I didn't moon anybody. So
Yeah.
I avoided the trouble, but I assume that Jason probably went to Moral Kombat.
Yeah, he probably did.
So.
That'd be a weird way to, like, for the victim to be searching for the lineup, like for the mooner.
You think they would actually ask that?
I hope not.
Oh, that's awesome. You grew up with Tyler Mitten, right?
Yeah, we started school together in 6th grade at Bluff City Elementary.
Okay, cool. He used to tell me like you were kind of like the gothic kid, like wore all the dark shirts and
I had my my band T-shirts and my black pants and my skater shoes, and I don't know why my mom let me, but in 7th grade we were dyeing my hair darker because I mean in 6th grade this is crazy, like the sunny and stuff women will put in their hair to make it like a little bit blonde.
I did it.
Yeah. I sprayed it all like till it was wet, and I was outside for 6 hours. Like my hair, I was straight up like Jonah Hill looking Eminem. Like it was, and then in 7th grade, I wanted to go a little bit darker with my hair, which I don't even know why. I don't have any idea why I was coloring my hair, anyways. And it ended up jet black. It looked horrible in my school pictures. I'll have to get my mom to find them because I'm just wearing this sweater and my hair just obviously looks fake. It's so bad. But I mean, like I wasn't gothic or anything. It's just it was more like where I was into like Bam Margera and everything. Like I completely owned the look and just went with it.
This is what you did. If you watch that show, yeah, you were just trying to channel your inward Bam Margera.
Yeah, I mean, he was revolutionary. Like he was just so cool. Like even Johnny Knoxville. I mean, just knowing he was from Knoxville, like I thought that was really cool. And I mean, they had under videos that weren't allowed on the TV show that they would do stuff, and it's just like, all right, these guys, this is what I want to be.
Yeah, I was never really accepted by the cool kids at school, so you got to think like, what is the opposite of that, and how can I be cool in my own?
Yeah, you just gotta own it.
So, did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to East Tennessee State.
Okay, what did you study there?
Marketing.
Cool, makes sense now. So I was business management marketing at Carson Newman.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite things about you is you're just your sense of humor is very much a lot like mine, and every time you're putting up stuff, I'm just laughing. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, so you've got some semi-viral and viral posts out there. Let's talk about some of the stuff you've created and your inspiration and like how many hits you got on that stuff.
Well, the biggest one that I've been that I did was whenever Vine was around. Kind of just it was like TikTok, but only 6 seconds, which it's not around anymore. It was just, I mean, if you had like a short attention span, you're just scrolling through these 6-second videos, and it was really funny. People coming from it, like David Dobrik, Cody Ko, people like that. But at the time, I was down at another gym, and I'd never had pre-workout before. And I went and bought C4. It was what the person at Vitamin Shop recommended me. And that first time I was like, yeah, I can handle 2 scoops. I sat there in the bathroom at the gym staring in the mirror probably 45 minutes thinking something's going to come out of my face. So then I wanted to make a TikTok of it. And it was basically a pre-workout where, I put the little scoop in the shaker, shake it up, and I filmed each little scene. And then I take a drink, and I'm like, what is this? And then like it took all day to film part because it was like before the sun came up at this point at the beginning. And I went outside and like I ran at my condo complex. I was living with some buddies, and I did that part. And then later on in the day, I ran past the parking lot during the day, so it goes from nighttime to daytime. And then like I was running in the woods, and I think it was either nighttime or daytime, but I had to do the running like maybe 7 or 8 times, and it's only less than a second of the running.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of storytelling in 6 seconds.
Yeah. And the neighbors are probably sitting there, what is this guy running, holding his phone up for?
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I can't stop. And like, I thought it was funny because sometimes I'll post this stuff and I'll be laughing at myself. And that's really the only reason. A lot of times I'll post something like, I'm like, I want to remember this. Well, it started getting a bunch of hits on Vine, and it got close to, I think it was right at about 900,000 on Vine at the time.
Crazy.
And a couple of maybe like 6 months later, I have a friend. He actually commented on a video on this bodybuilding page on Facebook. He was like, "LOL, this looks like you." And I'm like, that is me. Like, that's my Vine. And it's already at like, I think that one at the time was at maybe 400,000. And then there was another one like Jim Fell Army or something like that. It had 500,000.
So you're almost at 2 million hits on this 6-second video.
Yeah. And I mean,
crazy.
and the funny thing is I got to go back to work at the time, and I worked beside this guy named Andrew Blevins, who I was telling you about. And I told him, he's like, check this out. My Vine's going viral right now. And we just thought it was so cool because he sat right beside me at work. And the week prior, he had went viral with the lady with the Monster energy drink can video. Him and I think his wife, his little sister, and his mother maybe were at Kingsport Meadowview Convention Center filming her. And he posted it, and it just started booming. He's getting thousands of friends added on Facebook every day. And I think the people that run Tosh.0 and Ridiculousness contacted him to buy it. And I was like, man, that's cool. Like, that's, that's what you want. And then a week later, here I am. I'm like, I mean, he got paid. I didn't get paid, but Cellucor did tweet it. And they're the ones that make C4. And I mean, reading through the comments, people just roasted me. Like, I remember my first pre-workout, but I mean, I don't care. I was like, hey, this is cool.
Joke's on them. You got 2 million views.
Yeah.
2 million people watched it.
It was definitely, it was a cool experience. I wish I would have capitalized more, like, send it to Cellucor and be like, hey, hook me up at least one little container.
Something.
I'm easy to please here. And that one was one of my big ones. It was almost a series. I've done a couple of TikToks with it, but it's not as popular anymore. It's more just kind of ironic, and I think it's funny, and my buddies think it's funny. I always called him Life with a Juggalo, like the fans of Insane Clown Posse, and I'd literally be in the bathroom painting myself up as one of these guys, like Violent J or something, and I'd have, like, hey man, I'd film myself at the door, like, hey, I'm gonna need you to pay some money for the rent this week. And I'll set up and I've got the Juggalo paint. And I'm like, I'm a Juggalo. Don't ever expect anything from me. And I did like 3 or 4 of those, and they got probably like maybe around 20 to 30,000 at the time.
That's good.
And I mean, people probably really think that I was that person, but it was more ironic, even though like, back when they were in WWF, WCW, I did listen to ICP. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I just looked it up. My most famous piece of content ever is actually doesn't even feature me in it. It's Rich Froning doing one round of DT. Has 45,000 hits.
That's crazy though. You're in it.
Yeah. And then I had one where it was a CrossFit Hope workout back in 2010. It's got 6,000 in it, but it's just 5 dudes working out with bad form doing CrossFit on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey,
So just to put it in perspective, like 2 million views is crazy compared to, some of the stuff I've done that has a couple thousand. So
yeah. And I mean, like going from like Vine, like I'd love to make skits on YouTube or something like that. Cause the way that I edit videos, I'm not really that good, to be honest. Like I just kind of throw it together and just with some quick cuts and stuff like that. But that's one thing that I always talk with Andrew about, because he kind of ventured off and did his thing with AB Visuals. He does like weddings and stuff, and he does music videos. And I mean, if you go to his page, his Instagram, and see some of the work that he does, I mean, like I'd love to be able to do something, or like just me and him like meet up and just do a skit one day, because he's a lot better at that. Because I mean, he's all in on himself, because I just get on there, I'm like, tick, 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 but he's in there like it's like I don't even know how to explain it. It's cool though. He's doing really well.
Yeah, you and I are just doing it for fun and something to do as a hobby. Whereas this guy, he's got to feed the family with that.
Yeah, so he's doing good though.
Let's talk about your fitness journey. So, how long have you been doing CrossFit?
The first time that I had ever done it, I actually didn't know what it was, and my wife had talked about it. Her boss at the time was Corey Golson.
Okay.
And I guess he was going to the gym, and she was talking about it, always wanting to go. And at the time at work, I wasn't making, it wasn't really anything where I wasn't that invested into fitness or anything like that. So I messaged Tyler, and he was excited because I told him, I was like, hey, I'd like to come to your gym. And I did like the on-ramp class, and then I'd buy like maybe 10 gym visits at a time whenever he's over there behind Mellow Mushroom. And then it'd be like a long period of time I wouldn't go to the gym and stuff like that. And, like time went on, and whenever I remember me and my wife were on our honeymoon, and I was just kind of just thinking like, man, like I want to start going to the gym, taking it more serious. So, so that's what we did. We both kind of invested in ourselves, and, I don't know if I was doing it correctly at the time, because there's a lot to take on, but I mean, it was just fun. And I think that I've taken it a lot more seriously since November, especially as like this past year was, I mean, a really tough year for me personally. And I know my wife and my mom and everybody were there for me, but just knowing that my mental health and physical health, just like boom, gone.
Yeah.
And like I was in the bed some days and just wouldn't even get out of the bed. It was really sad, but I just was ready to just make a whole start over on life. And I started coming to the gym, and I was talking to Tyler over the summer and everything, and then started talking to you, which I've been following your Instagram page for probably a year or two before that, because your content is just always cool to see. And that's one thing I love. I like watching YouTube videos of people working out, like even though it's weird, like Craig Ritchie, Buttery Bros, stuff like that, because I get pumped. I'm like, yeah, like I can sit there and watch the series of Hustle Made competing at Wadapalooza, watch that whole series, and I'm like, I'm gonna go flip my car in the parking lot real quick. I just get hype over stuff like that. And I mean, seeing your posts and everything, getting in there in the gym, and then you texted me whenever, like I had like a couple of days where I wasn't there, and you're like, hey man, just checking on you, because I had a bad week,
Yeah, I couldn't get my brother to come in whenever you signed up.
And I loved what you always say, because I mean, you and Chris and Josh, all the coaches and everything, especially just having that. And I mean, like I've got, whenever someone texts you, keeping you accountable, that's like a big thing that really draws me to CrossFit, because, you make those friends. You're in there, especially like this morning doing that 19.4. I mean, everybody's in there like just breathing hard, like, but you're in it together, and they're holding you accountable. Like, hey, where were you at yesterday? Why wasn't you here? You see on the app, like no show on somebody, but and just the atmosphere is just really cool. And I like being coached. Like that's a huge thing for me because like I'm an overthinker big time. And something simple like today, a snatch or something like that, I'm thinking about like getting the weight over my head. And, Chris is, telling me like you need to, as soon as you fully extend, get under it. And then like I do it and I'm like, man, that's a lot better, felt felt light. And then like I start thinking about it more. It's like, oh, I forgot to do this. But just having that coaching aspect's big for me, especially in, like my senior year of high school, we had a coach named Robert Grunder. He was basically like a buddy, and he would just push us and everything and every day. And then afterwards, he's joking. Like, I mean, he was just one of the guys.
Yeah.
And just having that push from somebody's, I really appreciate it. And, whenever I'd go to the gym on my own, it's the same stuff. I mean, you don't have anybody keeping you accountable, so you can easily talk yourself out of not going. And then, the workouts are programmed at our gym. And I mean, you go in knowing what you're going to be doing, and, you can scale it. I mean, if you can't do the weight or you can't do that movement or something, there's something you can substitute in there. And I mean, just getting better every day. Like I feel better mentally and physically right now than I have in probably 4 years.
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. That's the stuff that makes it really rewarding to be a gym owner. So, CrossFit, it's unique because like you said, you're suffering together. It's very, I don't know. There's something about going to battle with other people that just brings out the best in people. Just that whole iron sharpening iron. So
yeah,
you've been doing good, man. I'm proud of you.
Appreciate
and
it.
what you've been doing. So let's talk about some of the funniest Aaron stories from here from growing up to where we're at right now. And there's some you haven't shared yet that I think are just hysterical, and our listeners would thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things, it was, like we were talking about growing up watching wrestling and everything like that. I never had the chance to be a professional wrestler. I never had any intentions, even though was my dream, jumping on the trampoline. But I always said in my head, like, if I ever got the chance to just feel what a ring felt like, I was going to take advantage of it. And my wife and I and some friends, we'd go down to Kingsport. It used to be NWA Smoky Mountain, but now it's Innovate Wrestling.
Okay.
And I was a member of like their page and whatnot. And the guy that's the promoter for him, because he puts on really good shows. I mean, you hear local wrestling, like people have been to stuff and they don't think it's that serious. Like this guy gets people from like, New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of the recent WWE champions, AJ Styles, he has him. But anyways, he puts a message on there. He's like, does anybody want to come down to Kingsport on Sundays, $20 a pop, and do wrestling training? And I'm sitting there.
And how old were you at the time?
I think I was 30. I might have been 20. I think I was 29, maybe.
I was hoping you were going to say 17.
No, I was
2 years ago.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there thinking like, all right, let's do it. And I think this was on like the previous Sunday before it started. So I was like, I'm in. And we had to sign like these little forms. But I go down to Kingsport and it's up on this hill that overlooks Eastman. And it's these two guys that wrestle for them. They're brothers, and their grandfather had built this legitimate wrestling ring in their yard and put almost like a thing to park your car under in your garage, but it was probably like 25 feet high, so the rain didn't get it. And I was pumped. Like my legs were shaking. I'm like, I'm about to do it. I had no intentions of wrestling. I just wanted to do it. So I get in the ring and he's just like, take a bump. I'm like, here's my shot. Boom, hit the mat. And it's wood. Like, I mean, like it flexes. And I get up and he's like, good job. Do 9 more. And I get up and I do these 9 and I'm sitting there like I couldn't even breathe. And then we start hitting the ropes. And like the next day, like I had these burns across my back from the thing. But the funniest thing that I never thought about was whenever you throw somebody into the corner, like you're working together with all of this, you throw them into the corner. And the only thing he tells us is try to flip the ring. And I start running. I hit that thing and it doesn't hurt if you hit it all at the same time. But like I hit it and like, he's like, all right, you about to flip the ring. But I think one of my favorite things besides those two was the hip toss. because like he showed us how to do it. Like you got to put your hand on their hip to kind of like hold your weight, and he's got his arms under it, but you're actually flipping yourself. And I go to do it, but like I panic and don't flip. But he takes this arm, puts it under my head, and it's like he cradles me. Like he's lets me know your life's in my hands. But like, and then I was doing it, and this guy, he's just like, man, this guy's like a natural. He's like, how old are you? And I'm like, 30. I'm so ashamed of myself. But yeah, I did it like 4 weeks, and it was a good time. It really was.
How sore were you?
I was the first Sunday afterwards, like it was, I was really sore, and it was just one of those stories where I could tell somebody that, and that's the last thing they're expecting me to tell them, that I've done that before. Because like, I mean, I'm not. I don't know. Like it just catches people off guard. Like, yeah, I've taken bumps, hit the ring. Like, oh, did you wrestle somewhere? No, well, it just in somebody's yard.
You're like everybody on YouTube learning these days. You just watch so much WCW.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, like I knew how to take the bump. Like it was
that
cool.
was your education. So for all those people that think wrestling's fake, you got news for them, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, go out there and hit a rope or two and see what happens. It really, I mean, like you appreciate it in the cardio aspect of it. I mean, you wouldn't know that, but running those ropes and jumping over people, you're landed on your back, knocking the breath out of yourself. And I mean, at the time, I was in no form like have any cardio. Like I was ready to just pass out.
But you stuck with it the whole month?
Yeah, I went the whole month. I don't know if he continued, but I was just like, all right, I got my fix on wrestling. I'm good.
That's cool, man. Any other stories that really stand out?
Let's see here.
If not, it's okay. I'm shocked. I didn't expect that to be taking place at 30. I thought you were like in your 20s or something, and I think that's awesome. So,
I mean, I'd say one pretty funny story. Back whenever we were filming and everything, we had this. It was basically like my friends. Whenever we had that website, like I was mainly the editing guy. I wasn't doing a lot of like the skating because I wasn't really good enough. Like I could ollie, and I could ride off a curve, but I had a friend. His name was Rob Brown, and he was a rollerblader, like like Brink, that style.
Yeah.
And he just did not care how to what he did. So I mean, he was just I mean, he was good, but I mean, like he would go big at everything. There's this handrail behind Science Hill that goes from the top of this hill to the bottom, and like we sat there for maybe like 3 or 4 hours just filming of him trying to get down that on rollerblades, and he finally made it to the bottom. Well, we afterwards over at Freedom Hall, there was a set of bushes out there, and we went to we were jumping like from like a ledge to it, and it was maybe like 8 to 10 feet into the bush, and the bush is pretty cushiony. Well, I had an obsession for some reason. Whenever I was jumping into bushes, I would do like almost like a Superman dive, like really try to take this thing out. And I jumped and I just hit the ground. I landed between 2 bushes, and I laid there, like I was just like, I can't cry right now. Like I physically can't cry, and I wanted to, and I didn't care to, but I couldn't. Like I couldn't breathe or anything. But that's one of the main things that hurt the most, because it was like 10 feet straight to the mulch.
That's funny. Oh man, that's some good stuff today. Anything you got for the listeners to wrap everything up?
I mean, if you're on TikTok, you can add me. I'll usually post like some random stuff once in a while. I'll have some good content on there. But
what's your handle on TikTok?
It's Wu-Tang Flan. It's WUTANGFLANN, and it's got that pre-workout video on there, and it's got a bunch of others. And I mean, and that's one thing I meant to say earlier about like the content creating on there. Like after watching the Aaron Dodge podcast with you, he was talking about just post stuff, get on there, don't even, put some thought into it, of course, but whenever you're posting a lot, those ideas just come. And a lot of times, like I'll just sit there and I overthink it and I won't post something. So I've been, ever since I listened to him, like I've just been posting like 1 or 2 a week or something like that.
Cool. He's already making a difference just in a podcast there. So thank you, Aaron, for inspiring Aaron.
Yeah, there we go.
So, well, Aaron, thanks for coming on today, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been fun laughing with you and hanging out for a few minutes. So,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, no problem. So, Better Everyday listeners, we'll be picking up with you in 2 weeks. Leighton's out of town next week, so we'll be seeing you guys then. Thanks.